Hello, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Superman the Triangle Years. I'm going to do things a little different this episode because I'm reading the comics faster than I'm filming these, and rather than try to film a whole bunch of episodes, I think I just kind of want to look at particularly these 3 months together and just kind of give you a quick look at them rather than give a more detailed look at each issue. So this starts off with Triangle number 23 from 1991. These are cover dated August 1991. And starting with Superman the Man of Steel number 2. Now, this was the first issue we got a full issue with art by John Bogdanov. And as I said in my last review, I wasn't a big fan of John Bogdanov's Superman art, and I'm still not, because it really didn't fit with the other Superman comics. It's not that the art's bad, it's good art. He was a solid comic artist, but he had kind of a cartoonier style than the art that was going on in the other comics. But other than that, this issue isn't very memorable. It has a couple guys coming after Superman as revenge from Cerberus, who would be an ongoing villain in the comics for a little bit. So the next issue was Superman number 58, and this again featured some villains coming after Superman. In this case, the Bloodhounds were looking for Superman to capture him for Cadmus, who wanted to experiment on Superman. They didn't trust Superman because in a few years back he had gone a little crazy and went around dressed up as Gangbuster. So this was actually a pretty neat issue. A big thing I liked, it worked in a lot of Jack Kirby stuff besides the Cadmus project. It had the Harrys in the Mountain of Judgment, as you see here, and it was pretty good issue all around. I did like the Guardian also going up against Cadmus Project and basically helping Superman escape. Shows him as a real hero, not just a tool of Cadmus. So, next issue, Adventures of Superman number 481, Triangle number 25, and nice creepy cover here by Jerry Ordway. Basically, a lot of this issue was dealing with some of the backstory in the Superman comics right now, that Jimmy Olsen was out of work, the planet was about to go on strike, but it also dealt with Superman having an encounter with Parasite having killed a whole bunch of people on a train. This next issue, Action Comics number 668, dealing with the Lex Luthor storyline. Lex Luthor's still dead, as far as anybody knows, and there's no will for LexCorp, and it mainly dealt with that storyline and people's doubts of whether or not Lex Luthor was really dead, whether or not he faked his death, and Superman researching that and eventually finding plenty of evidence that Lex Luthor was really dead. So next, we had a War of the Gods crossover, one of DC's big crossovers at the time. And in this particular one, because of all the stuff going on with the gods in the other comics, Quetzalcoatl awakes and threatens the Kents and the Whites on their vacation, their cruise, and a whole town of people in some South American country, or some, I think actually it was supposed to be Mexico. And Superman goes to save them. And, of course, we have the backstory stuff going on as well this issue. One thing I really like about this issue, Superman shows up, and Quetzalcoatl recognizes in Superman the power and the nobility of him and mistakes him for another god. And though Superman tells him, I'm not a god, he says, well, I still respect you, and if these people are under your protection, then I will leave them alone. So the fight doesn't really last that long. Not that Superman really is in the power level to deal with gods that often. So this issue is a fantastic issue. Superman number 59. This one, Superman and Lois haven't really had a moment to talk or anything since Superman revealed his identity to Lois. So the linear men, feeling bad for the whole time and time again storyline, one of the linear men actually pauses time while they're having a conversation. So they actually get a long time to talk to each other. And mainly Lois wants to know, why are you Superman? Why do you do it? You could do anything with these powers. And another neat thing this issue is the end of the issue. After Lois has the conversation, the issue has in the back kind of a fake version of Daily Planet articles, but they're actually fully written articles, and it has a story, an editorial by Lois Lane saying, hey, I don't think we ever thank Superman enough for all that he does. So, because he could be anybody, and he chooses to save us. All right, back in Adventures of Superman, number 482, we again deal with the Parasite. Again, during the Triangle years, the individual titles kind of kept certain themes, even though they crossed over a lot. And so we last saw the Parasite in the last Adventures of Superman issue. This issue has him again crossing paths with Superman, and this time getting captured. So, also the Daily Planet goes on strike. Superman and Thorn team up to tackle Intergang, and in Action Comics number 669, it was kind of cool to see Thorn in this issue. She's kind of a supporting cast character that doesn't pop up too often. Used to have a backup story on Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane. And this was just a solid issue. It wasn't anything great, but still had some fun stuff. The Half-Life of Joe Angstrom, and I can't really say a whole lot about this issue. I mean, just basically Superman deals with another threat. This one was a big one, though. Superman number 60, Superman takes down Intergang. Actually, not really Superman taking down Intergang, Clark Kent takes down Intergang. In one of the more recent issues, Lois pointed out that, maybe Clark Kent scooped her all those times because he's actually Superman, and she wondered if he could actually ever break a story without using Superman's powers, and he does that. He gets the information on Intergang without using his powers, even his invulnerability, and he gets enough information on them that they go down. So he ends up going personally as Superman after that information goes out to arrest Bruno Mannheim, who has some Apocalypse battle armor, and there's a brawl because it's a comic and you got to have an action scene. But this issue really is Clark Kent's issue. So, over in Adventures of Superman, number 483, we get the return of Blind Spot, basically a mercenary with cloaking technology, and he's deciding to get revenge on Slam Bradley and Jose Delgado and Superman. And when he goes after him, actually Superman doesn't do a whole ton that helps them. He lets them handle the fight on their own. As he flies by and sees them fighting with the invisible guy, he just uses his heat vision to zap the technology that made the guy invisible, and Slam Bradley and Jose Delgado make the arrest. So, and Jose Delgado is Gangbuster, for those of you who don't know. So, all right. Last issue for this episode is Action Comics number 670. It's a tie-in to Armageddon 2001. At the end of Armageddon 2001, Star Labs of Metropolis was left in ruins, and this one starts dealing with the aftermath of that, basically setting up the creation of a post-crisis atomic skull as the radiation and everything ends up affecting a guy that happens to have the metagene, and also happens to be obsessed with some old movie serial about a guy called the Atomic Skull. But, the Superman and a bunch of heroes helping people out of the rubble. It really didn't have a whole ton going on that issue, but it was a neat little tie-in saying what else happened because of Armageddon 2001, things that they couldn't have covered in the main title with so much else going on of Armageddon 2001. They were able to show the cleanup here. So, that's it for today. That was the Triangle Year issues for August, September, and October of 1991. And next episode, I might go in more detail. I might do it like this. It all depends on how many I've been reading. But a lot of fun with reading these comics. They really hold up well. And certainly some of the best Superman comics, one of the best eras for Superman comics ever. All right, that's all.